Thank you very much, Malcolm. And on behalf of the Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst, I'd like to extend a very warm, belated welcome to the Open Innovation Campus. Hopefully you'll see the other side of the campus as we go through the day. And some of the themes that you've heard already will become more relevant as we talk about what Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst's mission, vision, strategy is going forwards. But I need to align us all into where this journey started. The mantra was to become the UK's first open innovation biomedical campus. Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst is a joint venture between GSK and the Wellcome Trust. And the phase 1 development that you will see has been completed, was completed in December and open for business in February, was the build of an incubator and an accelerator. And the sort of flippant comment I usually make at this time is, if you build one of those next to one of these, does it make the blindest bit of difference? Discuss. So we'll see. We shall see. Multi-stakeholder investment, you'll see from the pie chart on the right-hand side where the investment has come. It's primarily GSK, Wellcome Trust, and then government through Technology Strategy Board and Business Innovation and Skills. And there was a little bit of remnant residual funding from the East of England Development Agency. And the government funding is going to be important, and you've heard partly why, because people have already said that public funding contribution towards open innovation is going to continue to be important, particularly in the investment and funding climate that we live in. I don't think I need to explain why this slide is so important and why it's first and foremost. I think you've heard from the other speakers already that when you deal, whether it's innovation or open innovation, you need a network and you need connectivity. And somebody's already said it, the lawyers and the financiers are as important as the scientists and the developers and the commercial people. So what we're trying to do is develop a mantra of connection and connectivity across the various stakeholders in those boxes that you see before you. And I very much see the Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst, as I know other incubator managers see themselves across the UK, as dating agents, marriage brokers, facilitators, connectors, networkers, picker up of the pieces sometimes, but also making sure that things go more smoothly and seamlessly through collaboration and engagement. So we play an important role, but we're not the key part of it. It's about the people that are in those boxes making the relevant connections. So this is where we started. SBC, to ensure that biomedical research ecosystem develops and evolves, engages with all of the components, biotech, pharma, academia, again, that dating agent, brokerage, facilitator. The keywords on the slide are UK PLC. The vision was to help pump prime and rejuvenate UK PLC, or at least participate in the process. And then, having come from outside of the Southeast, making sure that the connections that needed to be made across the UK, boy, have we got some fantastic science, fantastic centres. And what we shouldn't be doing is reinventing the wheel. And whether you call it innovation or open innovation, it's about making those connections. And you've heard already from other people that it's the people that will drive this. It's the entrepreneurs, the champions, the leaders, but it's getting that engagement. And then you've already heard it's building the confidence, it's building the trust to make it happen. And GSK has made that commitment to do everything it can to make it happen. Claire's already put one version of this. I put our flavour, the SBC flavour, alongside it. We totally believe in connectivity. We absolutely agree that collaboration is crucial. And we want to start setting challenges where people can come together and solve problems. And the areas that we've been picking, I'm 18 months into my tenure here, and it's been a no-brainer that there's real skill and expertise and access to that pharma expertise being crucial in the screening areas, the biomarker areas, stem cells and regenerative medicines being flavors and future areas and future programs, nanotechnology, bioinformatics. Of course, it's about new assets and therapy. And in addition to this slide, in the last few weeks, really, that we're hearing from more and more people that there's a convergence of technologies between pharma and medtech, and that's going to become increasingly important as we go forward. This is a first viewing. It's almost like a coming out party For the tenants that we currently have in our incubator, welcome to Iridium, to Magdi, to NQuix. I'll tell you a little bit more about LabStrat. I apologise for the lack of the logo from the University of Cambridge, but they're here and we're working with them. And that's a mix of early stage entrepreneurs who have come from the outside, looking to establish or start on that journey to go from idea to clinic. They might be at business planning stage. They might be bringing their own teams. And then of equal importance to me, if you think about why deal flow coming out of your mothership, GSK, and deal flow coming out of universities is as important as attracting companies that are already out there to this open innovation campus. We have some ex-GSK people. One of them, Amer Kasha, you've heard already from Imanova now Amaka. There's Arrakos Pharma, which is bringing out a respiratory asset with them, as well as the people and the expertise. Those are important, and it's very important for SBC and the portfolio of companies that we develop to show that that deal flow is coming from equivalent areas. We are creating, as all incubators should do, as much as we are attracting from the outside. Cambridge comes to Stevenage. You'll have seen, hopefully, the press releases, the activities going on. Christine and Ian are in situ with us and working with us and GSK to help move the projects forward that need to be close to pharma expertise early on. And you'll hear more from them directly. But this was just to show you that this activity has started, will continue to start, and will be lab-based very early in the new year, hopefully. So I just wanted to try and bring a few strands together from what you've already heard, really. We are about building a network of tenants, but that's what incubators do throughout the UK. What we want to do is make that innovation and that open innovation agenda somehow impact. It's not a panacea, as Claire told you, but it's one of the tools in the toolbox. And we want to really put that at the forefront of why you might think about using open innovation. It's about commercial drivers. It's about new therapies. It's about impacting in areas like dementia, where one partner, one company might not be able to do this on their own. So creating a network, getting access to GSK pharma expertise, you will see for yourselves how close and how proximal. You will see for yourselves that there is an appetite here for engagement with some of the companies that we're bringing in. We are engaged in these areas directly now, either seeking partners or looking for collaboration opportunities or having identified partners. In the medtech area, we're looking at some of the models that already exist. One of the strategies for SBC is not to reinvent the wheel. Make the connections with that which already exists. If it's a good model, why break it? And that's really important. And would that mimic model, for example, work in the pharma space? That's important. And Jackie and Linda are here today with us. Nanotechnology, formulations using nano components to get more efficient drug delivery. Are all the pharma companies experiencing the same problems around regulatory issues? I think so. Is there an opportunity to get those pharma companies together? Could you use the same model in the predictive profiling area? Biomarkers. One of the things we hear from the funders that fund academic research is sometimes it can be junk in and junk out in terms of the quality control. Could you bring a commercial partner to bring to bear on those academic projects so it's no longer junk in and junk out, and there might be that quality control, and that might lead to more efficient biomarker discovery. I will tell you more about LabStrat and the technical services that we're providing, and I'll also tell you more about Discover Assist. These are the first two components of what we're doing around open innovation. In the cell technology area, now seeking partners. You've heard Nigel talk about what companies like GE are doing. What we want to do is establish a centre where the right and relevant platforms and expertise come together around the right people, and there are people who, with the right relevant academic and commercial expertise, who can create and solve problems. So could you do something in neurosciences? Could you do something around protein folding or misfolding? The university network, we have somebody, Christina Martino, who's in the audience somewhere. Hi, Christina. She's directly involved in building relationships with the universities because we want to help. We don't take IP, we don't take equity. What we want to do is help broker moving projects forward. That's why we've got the government money. So it's that dating agency thing, that marriage broker, that's really important. And some might argue for or against, but it does come down to the money. So you have to, while you're building all of these ecosystems, you have to build an investor ecosystem. It has to go from grant and public funding all the way to corporate venturing. And it has to be the more the merrier, come one, come all. It doesn't have to be exclusive. It has to be in a way that you can point the right project at the right time to the right funding. I'm not going to tell you that we're there yet, but I do see evidence and I do see signs that we do have access to a bit more money. We need to do more about that. So I mentioned Discover Assist. What we've chosen to do is, rather than set up a physical infrastructure screening centre, is to really rely on expertise that comes from people like Bill Dawson and Stan Roberts and Duncan Judd, who have been there and done it in this space, and are able to offer that free access to expertise between biology and chemistry at the interface. Remember, we don't take equity. I'm not interested in the IP personally. What we want to do is help move those projects along and help make the connections to others if we can't help. So Discover Assist is up and running and is already actively engaged with several projects in helping to move them forwards. What I found from experience is that when these startup companies in the biotech space get going, what they really want early on is access to equipment that they can't afford. What we are privileged to have is access to NMR and LCMS and flow cytometry, and that's going to become increasingly important as these projects move forward through their journey of early stage development. If we can provide those services, as LabStrat is doing on our behalf, in a cost-effective way, whether it's either covered through the service charge and not an additional fee, or it's actually done in a collaborative way with other people that might be around the incubator or that we can facilitate with, then that's an interesting model. So we think that we've got something here that could be developed in a way that early projects get early access in a cost-effective way to big-ticket equipment. We're not the only ones doing this, but having the expertise from pharma on your doorstep to align with this is pretty important, we think. And then there's Sinovo, and you're going to hear a lot more from David Lee and Sinovo later on, and I know a lot of you have registered for that breakout session this afternoon. So I won't steal his thunder. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that my challenge as CEO is to find a balance between that which exists within GSK that we can access and that which we can get from outside, so that when you come through the SBC door, you have choices. But what we want to do is link all of those choices as much as we can. So Sinovo is this kind of soft access to the gym, access to all of the other facilities, the restaurant. GSK has invested quite a lot of money to make those places more amenable, more open, more places where the Dodge and car model can affect, in that when you come over and you meet someone and you say, what do you do? That might put a light on. There's a question mark about that, but we hope the more times that happens, the more likely there is for something good to come out of it. And then very specifically in the drug discovery, drug development space, how can we move your project through design, scope, in vivo, predictive profiling, toxicology? How can we move your project forward in the right way or stop you from making a crucial mistake? And that's an important part of the SBC vision. We really want to make sure that projects that do go forward in the journey are the ones that could and should attract later stage of investment. And remember, it's about creating more robust and more viable biotech in the UK. So my last 2-3 slides are really trying to convince you that once you've got the ecosystem, once you've got the people, once you've got the projects, once you bring the money, you have to create the environment. So welcome to the Open Innovation Campus. There's another 25 acres to go, but my job is to show people that the model works. Convince people that if you build it, they will come. And they will not only come, but they'll see the access to the expertise that we have here to be of value, and we'll have evidence and case studies to show that it's moved projects forward. So this campus is about making that interaction, innovation, whether you call it open or otherwise, amenable and available. Remember, we're brokers, we're dating agents. And as I said, GSK's already spent an additional amount of money to refresh their own buildings, to make that user visitor experience a bit more friendly, a bit more welcoming. That's going to be important. You know, this kind of stuff is important when you think about building a community. The labs are as you would expect them to be. They're high spec, high tech, and can cope with anything that a biotech company would want to throw at them. The trick here is to be able to afford or to offer space that is the right size at the right price at the right time for the companies. And likewise with the office space. And as you can see, most of those labs can be kitted out with benchtop equipment that's available at no additional cost, and then LabStrat provides the big ticket equipment for the additional services around LCMS, NMR. So there should be no excuses about access to equipment, services, expertise. Just keep bringing the money alongside and keep bringing the people and build that community and make it open. And then it's all about networking and making sure that the space that you'll see in about an hour and a half is the right environment for networking, engagement and interaction. And we think it is, and I like it. And if we do show that the Field of Dreams model works, that if you build it, they do come and they do see a value and they do see a benefit, there's another 25 acres and there's outline planning permission for another 8 to 10 buildings. So once you're here for life. And hopefully the experience is as enjoyable as I think it will be. Last slide, Malcolm. It's about engagement, it's about interaction. We'll talk to anybody. I'm a good northern lad. I'm used to and trained to talk to anyone. I think the financiers, the professional service providers are as important as the researchers, the academics, the biotechs and the big pharma. It's all part of our community and we need to bring it more and more together. I think I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
Hello, Linda McGee from Manchester. Manchester's loss of Martino is Stevenage's gain, I would say. Wonderful physical environment you've described, Martino, and the accessibility, but you also talked about the importance of people like yourself and many colleagues who facilitate and support this activity, and the other speakers have spoken about it this morning. Do you think we recognise that skill and give enough encouragement to younger people who maybe might take on that role rather than an overtly science or entrepreneurial role?
Thanks, Linda. It was worth giving you that £10 earlier, wasn't it? Schools to Science Park is the motto here, and I'm a great believer in it. I think you have to start early. I think in Manchester, we started at the PhD level with the BBSRC Biotech Yes event, and we didn't do enough on either side of that, and it just felt a little bit too late. And so, Andrew, Bernie, stand up. We are doing an event on December... Hello. Please, I forgot to say please again. With Andrew, we're doing an event called Making It in Medicines for 10 Hitchin, Stevenage local schools, where they're going to come in for a day and learn how to make medicines and get a buzz from being in this environment. But that's only the start. Patrick and GSK already have this ambassador scheme, and we want to build on that with Malcolm, although he doesn't know that yet. And then the next stage of the build plan might be a national conference centre for Building 3, which has an education centre associated, which is linked to the schools, North Herts College, University of Hearts, and whoever will help us to get that engagement from schools to Science Park. So the short answer was no, we don't do enough. And the longer answer you've heard, and the in-between answer, Linda, thank you for the question, was we need to do more.
Alex Ryder from Maxon. As a Dutchman who grew up in England and now lives in Hungary, take a bit more European view than the UK PLC. I know you've got a lot of government funding. I just wonder whether places like SPC can also promote or foster collaboration with other European partners?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I mean, open innovation or innovation doesn't stop in the UK borders. We kind of felt that global domination should wait until we show a UK impact. It's absolutely part of the mission and the vision. We want to engage, we want to partner beyond the UK framework. We are already speaking to people in Barcelona and Amsterdam and elsewhere. So if you know people that want to come and talk to us from our European shores, then please point them in our direction. But we just felt, it's not about SBC, It's about building the community. And in order to bring the right partners from Europe, you want to sell a vision that says, forget about us, look at what else is here. Look at this community that's growing. You have to be a part of this. You have to engage in it.